Well, I think it is a very interesting issue, of course. But what I noticed that even when President Obama said, when it comes to issue to the mosque, that building did not look like a mosque to me. Because when we use the word mosque, what comes to the imagination is a dome. It's a long, tall minaret or a tower that calls for prayer. So in the minds of the imagination of the American people, of course, this will come as insensitive to build this kind of shape building next to a great tragedy that befallen the American people. But having said that, I believe, there is a larger issue here at stake, not just building a mosque, because if we just prevent building the mosque today, tomorrow we're going to prevent building something else, and something else, a church or a synagogue. And let's remember that even in this country, in the past, even the Catholic Church, Catholics, Irish immigrants, Germans, Japanese, Latinos, were subjected to this kind of heated discrimination or rhetoric in the past. During World War II, if the American people did not, for example, it was a war, it was a big war. American German of German descent were subjected to discrimination. Japanese Americans, Latinos were welcomed in the 80s to come to California, and now they're public enemy number one because of different economic issues, and the mood of the American people has shifted and has changed. And I think when it comes to the Muslims in this country, due to September 11, and besides that point, I see there's no correlation between American citizens who happen to be Muslims or Arabs or from the Indian subcontinent with 19 hijackers who committed this crime who came from overseas. It isn't my fault that I, as Mr. Muslim American, Billy Joe Muhammad, as I call him, that some person who looks like me, has the same religion as mine, has the same name as mine, committed a crime, then I got to be punished for it. And this is, when American people, thought of Catholics as beholden to the Pope and not fully American citizens. So this cyclical, issue that we go through is quite unfortunate, but it's up to the American people, to the citizens of this country, to stand up to prevent greater tragedy from happening, especially that we have constitutional rights, we have the rule of law, and we have the guarantees of our freedoms in the Constitution.
Tom Bowden?
Well, in my mind, it's not a race issue. I mean, the undisputed fact is this country did come under military attack from Al-Qaeda, and the last time I looked, Al-Qaeda has not been vanquished, not to mention Iran and the other countries that have actually given aid and support to terrorist organizations. So in that context of as you said, a great country under military attack, a mosque like this near Ground Zero has an objective meaning that gives aid and comfort to the enemy in times of de facto wartime. I think it's problematic on that basis for the same reason that if a mosque in Kansas City wants to put the Quran in a glass case in their lobby, that's one thing. That's, they have a certain ideology, they have a right to practice freedom of religion and venerate the Quran. But if you take that same Quran in a glass case and want to put it in Shanksville, where United 93 went down, that has an objective meaning apart from the subjective intentions. It could be a group of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts who want to put that there. The point is that it gives aid, encouragement, and comfort to our actual enemy who is still out there. And it says, we're willing to spit in our own face, let other people spit in our face, do anything you want to us, and we'll just turn the other cheek. So I think it shows a lack of national self-esteem if you let this kind of project go forward.
Linda?
Well, I couldn't disagree more. I think the president has it exactly right. If you could build a church there or a synagogue there, you should be able to build a mosque there. That's what this country is about. And these are very hard issues, there's no question about it, but that's what makes our country different from so many other places in the world. And if we don't make sure that we uphold the rights of minorities who, in the particular time, are under attack because of the behavior of a few among them, then we're lost. In my practice, I fight discrimination one case at a time, and I don't expect that the civil rights history of the United States is going to come to an abrupt end because of the work that I'm doing, and I'm going to put myself out of a job based on my litigation. But we do it one step at a time, and this is a step in our history, and I think the president and those who are advocating for the right of the Muslims to place the mosque there are on the right side of history, and I think that's what this country is about, and I think that it's appropriate.
We've all watched as this argument, and many others, but this one in particular, since it's so fresh and still ongoing, has gone down two parallel tracks. One, legal, regulatory, based in hearings and readings of the statute, and one based on sentiment, appropriateness, feelings, and both were allowed to continue apace with nobody standing in the way of either of them. Now, you're a lawyer and obviously had a foot in both worlds, I guess you could say, but were you encouraged by the fact that this could become both a place of argument and debate where people could freely differ on this current controversy, and a place where the sort of grinding wheels of the legal world kept on going? That, in fact, we didn't put it up to a vote whether or not this project could go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, I mean, that's what this is about. And the grinding wheels that you're referring to have plenty of emotion and sentiment in them as well. I mean, each individual who has to go through litigation to preserve their rights has plenty of emotion in it. But yes, having that debate is healthy for us. We're in trouble when we all sort of go home and don't say anything, and you hear about someone who just loses it and lashes out. I think having a process where people are talking about it and making educated arguments and helping each other to understand, and helping each other to understand different perspectives about why this might be so hurtful, or why other people think that allowing the mosque there is consistent with our core values in this country. Hearing both sides, and that's what this country is about, that kind of debate.
Marcelo, why don't we begin by talking about what New American Media is, just so we give people an idea of where you're coming from.
Sure. We're a nationwide group of thousands of ethnic news outlets, immigrant newspapers, immigrant radio stations. We represent them as they try to build a more inclusive journalism in this country, and we try to enrich what they do with our own editorial work.
So was this particular story something that got a lot of attention in your member outlets?
It did. It got plenty of attention, obviously. It was an issue that was of concern to a lot of groups from a lot of different perspectives, obviously Middle Eastern immigrants, Muslim Americans, but also immigrants from other parts of the world who look to Muslim immigrants as perhaps the group that right now is most under fire. They're the group that really is receiving the most heat right now in a period of maybe a decade, really since September 11th, when immigrants in this country have faced a backlash everywhere, not just in New York, but across the country.
So tell me if I'm wrong, but is the coverage of this issue something that intertwines with current anxieties about immigration? Or is this sort of put in a separate bowl or a separate folder in people's heads?
I really don't believe you can put it in a separate folder, and I think that when you begin to talk to people about their feelings on this issue, you do get to a common source. I think that when you take apart the arguments against the prayer center near Ground Zero, what you come down to in the end is what kind of society are we going to be? There are those that say that the society that was attacked on September 11th, and the reason we were attacked on September 11th was an open society. It was a society that embraces folks from all national origins, all religious groups, and that's the reason that we were attacked. We were attacked because we are an open society, because those values threaten other people in the world that would prefer to have closed societies, rigidly controlled societies. And if you look at the arguments against this Muslim prayer center, because really it's not a mosque, they really do come down to this sense that we can't allow this. It's a very emotional and raw argument, but in the end, it doesn't represent what our society is really about. And when other immigrant groups look at this issue, they do see this issue as an argument between openness and tolerance and fear.